Thanks very much for coming to see us. I know you're a very busy man. Is it nice to be back at Pt1?
Yeah, it feels kind of strange being back actually. It's been a few years since I've been in here, so but at the same time it's always nice to come back and visit. I always feel welcome when I come in, which is a good feeling as well.
Is this the first time you've sort of been around since you left?
Yeah, besides coming back to games, this is the first time I've been in the stadium in a good few years, probably a good 10 years I think.
I think it was in '95 you were here, David, is that right?
Yeah, around mid-90s, yeah.
What are your recollections of it?
It was just kind of great to be part of the club. Really, there was a real good feeling in the dressing room, and it was just nice to be part of a club with such a great history. And I mean, I was a teenager at the time and working with guys like Jim Bett, Robert Connor, Stuart McKimmie, Willie Miller, Roy Aitken. It was just a fantastic time and a great learning experience to be kind of taken aside at training by Willie Miller and get some tips on defending. It was just it was kind of surreal, I suppose, looking back on it, but you just took it for granted at the time because it was just I guess a job.
What position were you doing?
Wing back. I played right back and kind of wing back, sometimes right midfield, more towards the end.
And was it always your dream to be a professional football player, was it?
I don't know if it was a dream as such. It was just something that I did every single day of my life. I mean, we went from school, we played every day till it was dark or till Mum kind of shouted on us to come in. The pictures of me before I can remember a little kid with a ball about half the height of me. So I suppose football was something that I always loved, always did, and it was just a kind of natural progression, I suppose. I can't remember when it was. I got picked up a district game or something. I think it was Drew Jarvie and Jockey Scott at the time watched them and got invited in. So from the age of 11 pretty much I was in here training, then signed full-time forms at 16, and from I think 16 till about 16 to 21 I was here, so a good years. I think at the time, probably looking back, didn't really appreciate it as much as we should have.
Sure.
But it was a great time, a great part of life. Really enjoyed it.
I spoke to one or two people who said you were very, very talented, but sadly just injuries maybe got the better of you.
Yeah,
it's been frustrating.
It really was. I think I had 2 operations, one at 18, one at 20, and at the time I was in a lot of pain. It was hard work, and obviously seeing your peers progress while you're on a treatment table was kind of difficult as well. And it came to the point where I'd visited a number of specialists, and kind of nobody got to the bottom of it. I think Sharby and Davey were both kind of pulling her hair out as well. I think he still credits me with his baldness there. But yeah, the club were great. They really stuck by me throughout the whole thing, and they tried everything possible, and it wasn't meant to be. In the end, rest was the only thing that stopped the pain. So I had to find another career, which strangely kind of came out of something that was pretty coincidental in here. I was sitting on a treatment table one day, leafing through a magazine as you do, and there was an advert for football coaching, and kind of applied for that and forgot about it. Then got a reply back saying, "Do you fancy coming out to Minneapolis?" And at the time I remember thinking, Minneapolis. I know it's in the States, I don't know anything about the place. I thought Prince, Jam and Lewis, that was a music connection, but didn't know what I was kind of letting myself in for. And then ended up going out there for a few months, I think it was initially, got for a full-time job, and that was my life for the next kind of 10 years on and off, coaching and working with kids. So still involved in football, but just in a different capacity. But again, it was a kind of tough time in the sense that was the end of the dream, as it were, for football, but it just opened a whole new door for the coaching side and working with kids, which I still do in a different capacity now in music. But it was equally a great time, my time spent in the States. I think I really grew up and kind of became a bit more independent, and I still go back every year now and keep in touch with friends that I've made from there. So.
And how did the music thing come about then?
Actually, again, probably related to the injury, strangely enough. The first time I had an operation, I had a lot of time on my hands, and I was always into music. And I think I bought myself a set of decks then, and just started spending more and more time with it. And then, I don't know how it happened, ended up playing in the club a little bit, and then that was always, again, something I was really into, but I never ever imagined myself, to be sitting here saying, yeah, I'm a DJ. I don't know how that kind of came about, but I just ended up doing more and more of it, and I suppose had a talent for it as well to a certain extent, and they're not too dissimilar. I mean, obviously I haven't got football in the club, but it's just kind of entertainment to a certain extent.
I was going to say, trying to become a professional football player is not easy, but trying to make a living out of being a DJ is probably just as difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, again, like I just got a couple of bigger gigs. I got a bit of exposure, and there was always the football thing, which got me a bit of press when I started out. I joined a couple of different street teams in London, and I was then promoting acts for a label as well as DJing. Did a few bits and pieces, kind of radio as a radio DJ, and then kind of found myself in Europe. I played the States, I went out to Africa. I was doing a weekly gig in Athens, which was just kind of bizarre. So the whole DJing thing, I suppose, just took off of its own accord. And then when I came back here from the States, I was still playing part-time. I had a season out in Hong Kong, a little bit of time in Spain, and then I was playing part-time here at the Mighty Montrose and Peterhead, which was, I was still really enjoying the football. I was pain-free, and I was having an equally good time there. Just the banter was great, it was nice to be back playing, and it was a decent standard as well. And I was doing the DJing part-time, and the DJing just got more and more busy, and then I kind of realised at the time, this is what's paying the bills as such, so I had to then make the decision to just dedicate all the time to the DJing, which has now became huge, I suppose. It's my living at the moment.
Yeah, you've been very, very successful at it as well. I mean, you started up DJing, I think, was it 10 years ago?
Yeah, that'd be about right, yeah.
But at the start, I mean, you were very much one of the first people to be playing sort of R&B stuff in Scotland, is that
Yeah.
Which, I mean, looking back now, I mean, you know, it seems incredible.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, and that was a good experience as well, because we started off promoting nights as opposed to just DJing clubs, so it was a good experience actually, running nights, hiring clubs, dealing with management, putting on entertainment, and that's something I still do quite a lot now, whether it be, we did a concert last year with Akon, done after parties for kind of Jill Scott, 50 Cent, G-Unit, did the Jay-Z parties recently as well, so it's quite big events, so they're quite exciting to be involved in as well.
Can you sort of try and tell us what a typical week's like for David Craig?
I'll use, Friday I was in Glasgow, Saturday I was in Edinburgh, Sunday Aberdeen. This week I'll go back and do a couple of days TV work, which is another kind of bizarre angle that kind of life's went into. And I also do production for a couple of different radio shows and interviewing for magazines. So the time's split between nights in the club, daytime in office. It's pretty much the interviewing and the features for whatever they're covering that week in the radio shows. So it sounds a lot more exciting than it is a lot of the times. I mean, I'm saying a radio feature could be me kind of on the street right now with a little microphone doing vox pops, asking people stupid questions with everybody ignoring you. So it's not as glamorous as it sounds.
No, but it's fair, you've interviewed a lot of famous people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the even I recognise. So who's the most famous you've interviewed?
I'm trying to think right now. Willie Miller. I remember there was a joke about someone in The Simpsons with Willie Miller, which he just didn't get at all. It was groundskeeper Willie, I think, supposed to be an Aberdeen supporter, and I ran that by him, and he just didn't really. He wasn't up for the joke anyway. So that happens quite a lot with interviews. You know, you never know how people are going to take. I quite like to wind people up. I think it's a mischievous side of me. I like to see if you can push a few buttons. The best one, or the funniest one, I think, was Charlie from Big Brother. She was just. Most people are kind of honest to a point, but if you ask anything controversial, they'll be kind of smart enough to steer away from it, but not her. She was just, she was like a ticking time bomb, but great fun though. And I think more recently, kind of Tayo Cruz, he's in the charts just now, like Neo, Akon obviously when he was here, it's drawn a blank, but I think I was just looking at about 50 odd interviews last year, so.